I'm 37 female, unexpectedly pregnant. My husband, 35 male, wants an abortion to keep it quiet. I'm not comfortable with this. What should I do? Original post, so here's the full story. Please be honest yet gentle. I'm extremely emotional right now and am on the verge of a panic episode. Background. We're a childless couple, married for 8 years. We both did not want children when we met and got married. We're both pro-choice. I was always clear that I didn't imagine abortion being right for me if I accidentally got pregnant. I respect and really support that each person should have the right to make their own decision in this matter. The past 2 years or so, I've felt differently and have openly shared my feelings of wanting a child in the future. We discussed it at length. Given the fact that we married based on both not wanting kids, we decided that I will have to be happy without them or exit the marriage, and I have continued in our marriage missing kids, but with a promise of getting a small dog to fill the void. My husband agreed it would be nice to get a small dog to fill that need, but has since been resistant and changed his mind. We do not have a small dog. I had the IUD implanted for birth control a few years ago, 99.9% effective. It worked like a charm for about 8 years. 2 days ago, Sunday, I noticed that the IUD had mostly slipped out of my cervix and it came all the way out. I bought an over-the-counter pregnancy test and it came back positive. I made an appointment with my OBGYN for Monday, yesterday, and it's confirmed. I have a viable non-ectopic pregnancy and I'm 5 weeks and 2 to 3 days along. I actually think conception occurred on or after 8/2, according to my ovulation schedule and intercourse. I had an ultrasound as well as multiple blood tests and everything is coming back looking fine and healthy. To add to the concern, I was off for all of August and drank alcohol almost every day. The OBGYN told me that there is an all or nothing mechanism and that if there was a complication from alcohol drinking, that I would have had a miscarriage already. He thinks that it's absolutely fine and that it should not factor into whether we proceed with the pregnancy. He really emphasized this point multiple times. Now I'm having a terrible time and would really appreciate your advice and insight. My husband wants to keep all this a secret and abort immediately. I'm not comfortable with that. When we spoke about our feelings, I can understand his desire to abort and not have children. He, however, does not understand mine. Instead of listening to my feelings, he's constantly trying to convince and pressure me to abort. I feel so alone and scared. He's insisting that I not tell anyone, especially not my mom or any friends for that matter. I'm very close with my parents and really just want to have motherly or friend advice right now. I've recently moved and my closest distance friends are about an hour and a half away. I just feel so lonely and pressured right now. My husband shared that he feels resentment towards me. He says that I can just fix this problem by having an abortion and that he has bad feelings towards me about this. When I tell him that this is not something I'm comfortable with, he just tries to convince me that I should do it instead of listening. Our communication is breaking down. This is all new. So I'm sure part of it is just shock and accepting the idea. We did not speak to each other last night for the most part, and I spent the time in the bedroom while he spent time playing video games and outside in the yard. I think we needed that time to think and recover. I'm sure we both need more time for that. Each morning before leaving bed to get ready for work, he gets up before me, he gives me a kiss in bed. That didn't happen this morning. When he forgot something and came back to the bedroom to grab it, I asked about the missing kiss and he reluctantly gave me one. It was forced and not nice. I'd hate for our lives to be torn apart. I love him and really enjoy his companionship. I don't think that he'd stay in a marriage with a child, even though when and before we got married, we clearly discussed divorce. Went to couples therapy to develop good communication base and decided that we would not divorce unless it was absolutely vital. Abuse, cheating that can't be resolved. He mentioned that he felt that I was choosing to have a baby over our marriage. Is this unfair? I can see how he can say that, and it does make sense. In the same breath, I also made it clear that if I were to accidentally get pregnant, I would not consider abortion. This isn't a surprise either. He's constantly bringing up the drinking and saying that the kid will have issues. He's not willing to hear that it's going to be fine since the alcohol consumption was early in the pregnancy, Am I kidding myself believing the doctor? I need advice. Should I listen to his wishes and continue to keep this a secret? What should I do about this pregnancy? I just think that I may have trouble living with myself if I went through with an abortion. Am I being unreasonable? Is he being unreasonable? I appreciate your advice. Note: unfortunately, my insurance does not cover couple and relationship therapy. I have made an appointment to speak with a new therapist for tomorrow after work. I'm going to suggest he do the same. Edit: I'm blown away by your generous advice, kind words, and honesty. This is truly a wonderful community, and I appreciate each and every response. I'll continue to read my responses that come in and will provide you with an update once something concrete comes to fruition. Thank you. Now for the update. I wanted to give you kind people an update that is well overdue. First, though, I'd like to take a moment to thank you, most of you, for your support and kind words. For the most part, this community came through with useful advice. I really need help and felt extremely lonely during my original post. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And now on to the update. I'm 39 now and my husband is 37. I was able to see a therapist a day or two after my original post and had a good cry while hashing out the whole story. I told the therapist about the advice that I got here. She hadn't heard of Reddit, and she agreed as well. I went through with the pregnancy. My husband had the option, obviously, to stay or leave. He decided to stay. Not only did he decide to stay, but he's the happiest he's ever been in his life. Reminder, we were a childless couple and did not plan on ever having kids. Our daughter has brought us so much love into our hearts that we were both amazed. I see the world in a different way now that I have her. He loves her daughter with every bit of himself. Amazingly, my love has grown for this man. He has told me that she has opened up parts of his heart that he never knew was there. I understand what he means. The happiness that I feel is beyond words. Both my husband and I are so thankful that we have her daughter. We talk about it every month or so and can't believe how much we would have missed out if we didn't have her. To top it all off, we have decided to have another baby. So thank you, Reddit. Your support helped me through a difficult time, and I hope that those of you that took the time to comment on the original post see this update. Edit: holy schmoly, Reddit. Pinned and gilded for the first time. Thank you for the gold, kind stranger. Thank you to all of the wonderful positive messages. I've read and appreciate every one of them. I'm glad that sharing my story brought a smile to so many faces, or tears of joy in some cases. Story 2. I cheated, but at what point do I deserve happiness? Plus update. Original post. I'll try to keep this as brief and to the point as possible. I'll preface all of this by saying I'm a reformed cheating a-hole. I know that I screwed up. Let's start with a backstory. I met my wife in high school. We dated for 3 years. We broke it off in the middle of her senior year. We stayed broken up for a little over a year. During that year, I dated a little, fooled around a little, hooked up with a couple of girls, but mostly out with friends, nothing serious. We got back together and everything was great. At 21, we had our first child and got married. My daughter changed my life. I went from nerdy video game slacker to highly ambitious IT professional overnight. I found a great job, got promoted quickly, and started to travel for work. At 24, we had our second child. Prior to kids, our sex life was pretty great, anywhere from 2 to 5 times a week. But after the second one, it was maybe once every other month, usually less. I met someone that worked at one of the locations I traveled to. Similar situation, young, married with kids, no sex. It started innocent, as it always does, but eventually we decided we loved our spouses, but still needed sex. And rather than run the risk of getting emotionally involved, we would just have sex when I was in town. When I wasn't in town, we'd talk to friends and coworkers and flirt lightly, but that's it. But a relationship like this allowed us to both open up to some sexual kinks we'd never shared with our spouses, and the kind of stuff that I didn't get into when I was single for a year. We did this for about a year and a half, which ended up being about 6 visits. We both decided that while it was nice to have kinky, no-strings-attached sex, we should really refocus our energy on trying to fix our sexless marriages. And I did. I completely put all my energy into rekindling the fire and passion of my marriage. It didn't really work, but everything outside of the bedroom is perfect, so I decided that was okay with very little sex because she is an amazing woman, and I don't want to break up a great family just because I'm not getting sex. I also made a vow to stay faithful, which I did. Then about 2 years ago, my wife found a video on the laptop of me and my secret sex buddy. I came clean about everything, admitted I was wrong, and vowed to prove that I'm worth trusting. She had some requirements that I accepted without question. I stopped hanging out with friends, stopped playing any and all video games, no longer chatted on MSN with friends, very limited time on the internet, switched jobs, helped out more around the house, let her have full access to my email, etc. Basically, I decided that I would cut out everything that could be a distraction from rebuilding trust. It's 2 years later and I'm confused. I've been faithful for more than 3 years now and have done everything asked of me and more. I've made such major changes in my life and who I am to prove that I can be trusted. But it's made very little difference. Still almost no sex, and she is very mistrusting still. She can have a Facebook account, but I can't. She can go out with her friends occasionally, but I can't. I can play a video game, but only if it has no online or chat component. We did counseling for about 6 months, and the therapist did say that she saw improvements and that I was making a serious effort to prove my trustworthiness and unlikely to cheat again. My wife didn't like sharing details of her life and felt it wasn't helping. Recently, a girl I knew in high school contacted me and made it very clear she'd be interested in a sex-only relationship. I told her no, but it made me start to wonder how much punishment should I endure. I feel that I've tried as hard as I can and I want it to get better, but I refuse to spend the next 70 years apologizing and walking around with my tail between my legs. But I also don't want to be a weekend-only dad. That would kill me. And I still very, very much love my wife. I just don't know what to do. Now for the updates. Update 1. First, let me say thank you to everyone who commented. I read all of them and they helped me more than I could ever say. Thank you, Reddit. What a difference a week makes. I came to Reddit a mere 5 days ago, and the life that I had last week is nearly unrecognizable from the one that I've had today. Wall of text ahead. After reading all the comments last week, I decided I'm not a prisoner and things had to change. I made plans to go out with friends I hadn't seen in over a year on Friday night. On Thursday night, I sat down with my wife to try to reopen communication. Let her know that I have needs and wants that are not being met, and that if we're going to make this work, then some changes have to happen. She is my partner, not my warden. She took it pretty well and seemed to understand where I was coming from, and recognize the huge amount of work I've put into myself and this relationship. It felt like a fairly major breakthrough. We even discussed picking a new therapist and giving that another try. But there was something nagging me the whole time. A Redditor said to me that he went through something similar, but eventually found out his wife was also cheating, which explained the Alcatraz-style lockdown on his life. I don't know why, but I couldn't shake this thought. I know my wife wouldn't cheat, but she's also a reasonable person, so why the hell have I been on house arrest for 2 years? After a couple of days, the thought got the better of me and I put a keylogger on her laptop. I did this Thursday afternoon. Friday comes and I'm excited to see my buddies. We talk a little before I left. She was apprehensive but understood this is necessary to rebuild lasting trust in our relationship. And like Reddit suggested, I hardly had anything to drink, answered texts and phone, class in a timely fashion, and got home 20 minutes before I said that I would, as a show of good faith. My wife is in bed already, but sleepily asked how the night went, and I said it was great. Saturday morning we discuss it at length. She seems genuinely happy and understanding, and I'm beaming ear to ear. Not only did I get to see the buddies, but it appears that I'm making headway in my relationship. Win-win. And while I'm on this euphoric high, I decide that trust is not made with a keylogger. It was dumb to install it and will only create paranoia in me. I should also mention that while she has full access to my email, I have the same access to her email and Facebook. So really it seemed that a keylogger was overkill. I go to uninstall it. Of course, curiosity gets the best of me and I check the very limited 2.5 days worth of logs. Nothing jumps out at me. Amazon, Facebook, YouTube, Gmail, etc. I get to the end of the log and it's looking good. until I see another trip to Gmail, this time for an account I've never seen before. I remain calm. I keep an old Hotmail account for spam, sign-up crap. I would advise her to do the same thing and only let friends know her real email. Either way, I log into the new account. No spam, no nothing, it's empty. Just a bunch of empty folders until I hit the tax information folder. Now this folder is full of hundreds of emails. However, none of it is tax related. All of it goes to or from Steve. I have a 65-year-old step-uncle named Steve, but this is not him. I don't know who this Steve is. These emails are graphic. Lots of what he likes to do to her and what she likes to do to him. Lots of last weekend was amazing type stuff. So after reading maybe 30 of these, I decide I need to stop reading them. I made a new Gmail account and forwarded all of them to this account. Then I went back and deleted my tracks. I'm somewhat calm during this. It sucks, but I cheated, so I'm now experiencing what she did when she found out about me. While forwarding them, I pay closer attention to the dates. This affair has been going on for a very long time, all the way back to roughly a year before my son was born, or a year and a half before I cheated. That hits me like a ton of bricks. What if my son isn't mine? What if my 1-year-old baby girl isn't mine? I freaking lose it. I verify my tracks are covered and bolt out of the house saying I'm going to the gym. I sit in my car for 2 hours crying at the thought they might not be mine, and how do I ever move forward? I have no idea how to confront her. I head home and find her best friend is there. They've decided they want to go to a movie. I'm still in shock, so I just nod. I need time to process anyway. So I put the kids to bed and try to figure out how I'm going to talk to her about this. I decide to check her secret Gmail again. She emailed him 4 hours earlier. She told him that she'd have an hour after the movie to meet up. Check the time, the movie is done or close to it. I start calling her cell repeatedly, no answer. I call about 10 times, no answer. It's 1 a.m. and I'm sitting on the couch and she walks in. Surprised to see me up, asks if I'm feeling okay. Ha! I stood up right in front of her and said I'm fine, and asked her, why didn't you pick up the phone? She says it was a movie, can't talk in a movie. And then she forgot to check it when she headed to the bar for one drink. She makes her way to the stairs and I say, how is Steve doing? Her face goes white. Your Uncle Steve? She says. No, the Steve you just got done screwing 20 minutes ago. How is he? I asked, why didn't you come clean when you found out about me cheating? We could have fixed this together. She starts bawling and runs upstairs. I follow. What ensues is the worst 4 hours of my life. She comes clean that she met him back when she was working. He was a temp. I again asked, why not come clean 2 years ago so we could both work on this? She says she was too hurt by what I did and too ashamed to come clean. She said that she told Steve she needed it to end and wanted to work on her marriage. And she says she did. But about 8 months later ended up hooking up again and it all started over. I asked why the prison rules. She says it's because she loves me and didn't want me to leave. I explained that while not right, I cheated because we didn't have sex. But obviously she was having sex elsewhere, so she didn't need it at home. So I asked why she cheated because I know prior to Steve, we had sex 2 to 3 times a week and she came 1 to 2 times each time. She says he was relentless in pursuing her, which made her feel sexy, and that the relationship was taboo, which added a thrill. Do you love him? To which she says no, but like the thrill and the taboo. I could go on and on. I asked a million questions. Eventually I asked the big question, are the 2 youngest kids mine? She assures me they are. I ask how can she be so sure, to which her response is she just knows. Despite what she says, she has no way without a blood test to assure me that they are mine. I am crushed on so many levels. I stand up and head for the door. She stops me and begs me to forgive her and that we will work this out. I can impose harsh rules if I want and watch her every move, and she will do anything to fix this. I calmly tell her I have no interest in being a warden and that I need to go for a walk. I walk for an hour and come home and crash on the couch. Sunday was beyond awkward. I said very little to her. I studied my 2 youngest, trying to find any traits in them. Every time I think I'd see something, I'd be struck by the fact that I don't know what Steve looks like. Perhaps he has big ears too, and that's where my son gets them. We talked briefly Sunday night. Despite wanting to ask more and understand more, my soul just wasn't in it. So we went to bed separately, and I laid awake to the sound of her crying upstairs. It felt good to get that out. I'm not sure what to do from here. Part of me thinks that neither of us will ever trust the other, but the other part thinks that she could have left 2 years ago to either be alone or to be with Steve. She gave me another chance, and I'm a better person for having that chance. Wouldn't it be hypocritical for me to end this because of infidelity? Doesn't she deserve a chance to prove herself and to prove herself like I have? Update 2. I got home from work and she had the kids at her parents' for a sleepover. She kept trying to get me to say what I thought or felt, and I pretty much quit. I told her I didn't know what I thought or felt yet. I know that I need to talk to her, but all I feel like doing is laying on the couch with some beer and watching Futurama till I pass out. She did eventually get me to talk. I basically said that I don't know what to do, but I think at the very least we need some separation and therapy if we're going to attempt to fix this. She was unhappy about the separation part, but I put my foot down. I've lived trapped in my house for 2 years. Perhaps I'm not the person she loves, but instead loves the idea of us. She saw my point and said that she did love me, but understood that with some time apart, that might help. Update 3. Well, it's 6 months after I found out that my wife had been cheating, and a lot has changed. After finding out, the first thing that I did was get the kids' DNA tested. Then I spent the next 2 weeks sleeping on the couch and having endless conversations with my wife. The more we talked, the more I felt like the world's biggest chump. I had poured out my soul into fixing the relationship and was racked with guilt while she was screwing some guy. But also, I couldn't see myself just walking away. She's been in my life since we were 15 and we are 29. So I agreed to start therapy immediately and see how I felt after talking to someone else. To say the therapist was a bit shocked by her story is a bit of an understatement. This lady was pretty blunt in saying that nearly all of our problems stem from my wife's actions and that she needed counseling just for her. In addition to the couples session, while we were in therapy, I moved out and crashed with my best friend, but demanded the house on the weekend so I could be with the kids. My other conditions were that she cut off all contact with Steve and that we talk openly about everything. Any lies, even white lies, and I would be done. I also wanted full control of the bills and the budget. She complied. I never divulged that it was a keylogger that helped me find out what was going on. She just assumed that she had stayed logged into her secret Gmail account and I didn't correct her. Asshole move, but I figured that since I'd been lied to for 3+ years, I had the right to do a bit of spying. This puts us at roughly 4 weeks after I found out, and finally the results from the kids' DNA test come back. All mine. That was such a relief that I can't even describe it. It almost felt like I didn't care what happened with my wife anymore because I knew that my kids were mine and I'd always have them. And one thought stuck in my mind the whole time was, I can accept that people make mistakes. But if she loved me, she had the chance to come clean about her mistakes when she caught me. Instead, she put me on lockdown for years. Who does that to someone they love? I just could not stop thinking about that. Therapy was going well, but I was becoming jealous and angry, always upset. I was away from home all week, and then on the weekend, I'd tear apart the laptop trying to find out what she'd been doing in my absence. She was checking her secret email, and Steve was continuing to email her, but she never responded. That was the breaking point. She hadn't shut down the email like I'd asked, and while she wasn't responding, she was checking the emails, almost like she was keeping her safety net around so that she could go back if things didn't work out. Or maybe not. I don't know. But I didn't want to be angry and jealous all the time. I didn't want to be a warden. The next day I confronted her and told her I couldn't forgive what she had done. I told her I could probably move past the cheating, but the way I was treated was terrible. I explained how I pushed friends out of my life and shut myself off from the world to work on us, only to find out that I was being kept prisoner so she could keep effing her boy toy. She broke down crying, saying that she'd do anything to salvage the relationship, but it fell on deaf ears. That Monday, I contacted an attorney. Fast forward 4.5 months, and I have my own place, divorce is nearly final, and I'm finally starting to feel like me again. We are going for 50-50 custody. I've been reconnecting with my friends and trying to find new hobbies for when I don't have the kids. I've been on 2 dates because a couple of friends wanted to double date, thinking it would help me. It was nice to meet new girls, but I'm just nowhere near ready to trust anyone. Part of me thinks I'll just put off dating until the kids are out of high school. The kids are sad that we aren't together, but we keep all this away from them. No arguing in front of them, and no bashing the other when they aren't around. But either way, I think I'm on the road to recovery. And feel free to ask anything because you guys help more than I could ever say. That's all for today. If you're enjoying this story, please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you.